Yeah, hello kids, it's your boy Deadbedspread, and week 2 of SMAUGUST has come to a close. I did the whole introduction to the challenge last week, so if you have no idea what I'm doing, go check out last week's video. I'll be here, I'm not going anywhere. I am a video after all, you know, you can pause me. I don't have sentient thoughts anymore. I'm just a product to be watched. Before we begin, here's some fun things. If you want to watch and participate in the live streams where I design all these dragons, be sure to subscribe to my second channel, Deadbedspread. I'm streaming pretty much every day for the rest of August. If you want to see the final renders I do for these dragons, you can follow me on Instagram or Twitter. My name is Deadbedspread on both. If there's any complications with the live stream, let's say I'm not able to do it for any reason, Twitter is the place that you'll find out. You'll also get the occasional Fakemon teaser and a bad joke or two. Finally, I've set up a Discord where you can chat about Fakemon or even submit your own fan art. I've had lots of people ask me to make evolutionary families for these mons. Discord would be the place to show those to me if you want to make them. And of course, any fan art presented, I'll feature at the end of my videos. The link is in the description. Well, that's enough self-promotion for one day. Let's get to some dragons. At the end of last week, I decided that I needed to simplify my designs. So before I even knew what I was going to do for this day, I knew that it would be way less visually cluttered than some of my previous dragons. Decided that instead of going with some sea-based dragon for nautical, I would go with a navigation method used by sailors. There's a constellation called Draco, which leans itself well to the dragon shape. It's also Latin for dragon. Figured the stars could be glowing spines along the back of this being, and its actual body would blend into the night sky, obscuring it from view. I took that a bit literally and just added a starry overlay layer above its colours. It was also inspired by the Draco constellation from a set of cards known as Urania's Mirror? It might be lazy, but I think it's pretty effective. Its head and tail look almost cloud-like, and its tongue resembles a shooting star. The glow could have been implemented better, but overall, this is a success in my eyes. Rarely documented being sighted over any terrain, Stelestra are most well known for helping lost sailors navigate back to dry land. Why they do so is a mystery, but they are regarded highly in the nautical community. Oh boy, this definitely brought some early Pokemon designs to mind, as well as Wailord just due to its size. I knew I didn't want to usurp Wailord as the largest non-legendary Pokemon, and also that I didn't want to base this mon off of an already existing kaiju. I figured as a blue whale is the largest living creature, why not go for something small? Really small. A Tardigrade, also known as a moss piglet or a water bear? What about these things as piggy or bearish? Those names provide good basis for Pokemon inspiration, however. I figured I'd keep the 8 limbs, but fashion them so that it has the silhouette of a bear, the top ones looking like ears almost. Its face will consist of just a mouth, with a sort of almost butt chin that could cause some sort of visual trickery. You want to boop its snoot? Well, too bad, because that's a mouth. I considered having the beast filled with liquids to get across the water bear aspect, but I found that that was a trope that I was repeating a lot recently. I decided to give it a colour scheme resembling old-timey beachwear, and I think it works. This one was really fun. The idea evolved as I was drawing it, and I ended up quite liking the final product. We initially had decided to go with some sort of blue lobster, as they are very valuable and dragons love precious things. However, as the idea evolved, and as lobster also refers to a deep red colour, that aspect was lost. Wanting to go with a traditional dragon shape, I altered its claws to actually face backwards by default, like wings. It would still be able to flip its claws in front of it, of course. It was definitely a challenge differentiating it from the core fish and clauncher lines, which, yes, I know are not lobsters, but they are the most lobsterish Pokemon that we got. Just work with me here. Lobsters, which, when cooked alive, which they always are, turn that red colour that we associate with them. They naturally aren't that red. Figured that our guy here, resembling a dragon shape, could in fact be a water fire type, containing a boiling liquid inside its claws that it could shoot out with force. I also added in a bubble beard because crustaceans be like that, and also because dragons occasionally have facial hair. I also realised that upon finishing this that it had the same types and essentially the same colour scheme as Volcanion, but 1, I forgot Volcanion existed, and 2, I think that this is a much better use of those types conceptually. The first and only thing in my mind throughout the day before sitting down to stream were the time trial relics from Crash Bandicoot. Seriously, it was only pretty recently that I learned that the true name for these was an Ankh. A relic not only refers to an object that has survived throughout history, but also a person who has become outmoded, old-fashioned. It's the same concept behind Relicanth, so I wanted to avoid any similarities there, and I figured a crocodilian was too obvious a direction to go. I had a bit of trouble deciding, but settled on a creature known as an elephant shark, which is not a shark, but a ratfish. What? I mean, all of that is a pretty good basis for a Pokemon on its own. As it's a relic, I decided to look into prehistoric elephant ancestors, which are just bizarre, and I settled on Dinotherium for the sole reason that its lower jaw tusks would resemble rat teeth, tying all the elements together. Allegedly, the elephant shark is the slowest evolving animal on Earth, so I imagined it would be funny if this Pokemon were the same, with its fin patterns alluding to eventual feet, but not quite getting there. So it's like Relicanth, but instead of not evolving, it's just evolving really goddamn slowly. Also yeah, second fish of the month, still not water type. I didn't want to be doing 3 water types in a row, and also fish don't need to be water type just because that's what they live in, you know? Anyway, this fella turned out pretty baby. Like the 6th day of the first week, approaching the stream, I found myself not motivated. Not really sure how or why this was the case, but I decided to delay the stream slightly and have a hot shower. If you're experiencing any sort of burnout, forcing yourself to work isn't going to get you out of it. It's usually worth doing something good for yourself, like physically and mentally, before reattempting whatever it is that you're actually trying to do. Regarding night, I went for the nocturnal darkness aspect. I figured owls fit the former, they have magical implications, so that's perfect for a dragon, and they're also a symbol of death, fitting into the darkness theme, and also giving it the dark type. I'd done an owl for my first day of SMAUGUST last year, but as I said in the previous video, the first design in these challenges is always the worst, with Gorgowl being no exception. Therefore, it was used as an inspiration, but mainly just for any kind of potential improvement. With all of these previous influences not being enough, apparently, I figured owls have large eyes, and with the death connotation, what if it had deathly eyesight? Medusa came to mind, but I figured that's more turning into stone. I mean, like, you still die, but you know what I mean. Then I was thinking about the basilisk, the mythical creature that kills you by looking at you. I'd always assumed that it was just a snake, but it's actually like a combination of a rooster and a serpent. This was the element I was missing. I figured roosters and owls are both birds, so that shouldn't be too outlandish. Also, the basilisk looks like this. What? Go off, Serpent King. As a unique stylistic twist, Nocturnix walks on its wingtips. It can also hold and throw bones using its whip-like tail. I woke up pretty early on this day. I went back to the gym for the first time. I tried cooking something new, but despite everything I did, I still felt great going into stream. A prompt like tropical can encompass so much, but it was also Friday the 13th. Things are gonna get weird. Encompassing a whole area between the latitudes on either side of the equator, the tropics can provide infinite possibilities and inspiration for Pokemon designs. What I ended up with was combining 2 of the most dangerous organisms you can find, the poisonous dart frog and the Gimpy Gimpy, also known as the suicide plant, a relative of the nettle with a sting so powerful that the pain can last for years. Also, its stinging hairs can become airborne, so you don't even need to be near it for it to ruin your life. I decided to make a froglet, you know, where the frog still has its tadpole tail, and making the tail a Gimpy Gimpy leaf seemed ideal. In researching dart frogs and their life cycle, I found out that the adult frogs basically carry their tadpoles around like a backpack. If that ain't perfect, I decided to give this guy a son, similarly to Kangaskhan, where it just kind of ceases to exist if it's not part of the parent. I love the juxtaposition, this cute round friend and their son, who will involuntarily kill you instantly if you so much as touch them. Cheese, huh? I was having a pretty hard time with the design on this particular day. I mean, I was no stranger to making a food-based dragon, but I guess I was experiencing artist's block. I did more research into cheese than any sane man should, and given that there exist thousands of varieties, it was just a tad bit overwhelming. I decided to simplify things. Cheese was supposedly invented around 10,000 years ago, and it has a long shelf life compared to other foods. I figured we'd make some ancient cheese beast with some accumulated mold, which is common amongst cheese, and I don't get it. Cheese is made from milk. Milk comes from cows, mainly. A male cow is a bull, and we figured a suitable mythical creature would be the Minotaur. Made from cheese, I decided that the typical bull features, the head and the legs, would actually be made of mold instead. And what better to add into the cheese prompt than a personality as if you were posing for a photo, with a big smile to boot. I also gave him the classic bunny ears. Imagine this guy would have been created by an ancient society and abandoned in a labyrinth, and after being alone for so long, all Chatter wants is attention and validation, but deep down, he has a heart of gold. Definitely strange, but he's growing on me. Like mold.
Deadbedspread, there's not 8 days in a week, you smelly idiot.
True, but I figured instead of doing 7 fake mon per week and then cramming 10 into the final video, I'd start doing 8 for the remaining weeks of August. It'll all add up, don't worry. Despite Virtual being a potentially tricky prompt, an idea actually formed pretty quickly. A small computer-based creature that can project an image of a large holographic dragon as an intimidating disguise. With the help of chat, we determined that the actual Pokemon would be a software bug, a beetle in the shape of a computer mouse. The dragon hologram is just that. It's not physically present and it's unable to attack. Therefore, Flyber is a bug electric type. It's got some subtly web-shaped wings due to it being a bug in the worldwide web. Maybe the dragon could have been designed to imitate an already existing Pokemon. Maybe Flyber could have an ability similar to Zoroark, but when entering battle it mimics the shape of a random dragon type. Could be cool. Let me know what you think down below. Well, that's week 2 of SMAUGUST done. Came out a little bit later than I anticipated. I am starting to feel burnout now. I know I said I'd take Saturdays off, but I haven't taken a Saturday off. Currently, I've done 15 days streaming in a row. Yikes. Any comments and subscriptions are very much appreciated. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you back here next week for week 3 of SMAUGUST.